What's up, guys? We are live. And our opening question, guys, for today: describe your thoughts on the United States election in 3 words or less. We'll talk a little bit about that on the second, or the end part, I'll say, of today. What's up? Hey, Mr. Yamabito. What's up, male patriarchy? Texting Prince, you do bring joy, especially with the fraud elections. Thank you. I was looking forward to coming on tonight and chatting with my people here, because we know how crazy it is right now. What a world. And I'm ready to start. Cracking one of these open here. We got the... Oh, I thought I grabbed mixed berry. All right, we got cherry grapefruit hard seltzer today. What's up, Jonathan? What's up, Pimpin' in the Rain? Chad Hart, Sport Better. All right. I like it, Sport Better. Hey, Reggie, Striped. Yeah, there's so much going on right now. I mean, what a show. What a show. We're getting our popcorn's worth with this election. Yeah, D-Ross thinks Kamala will soon be POTUS. I don't think so, but I see what you're saying. I'm not worried, guys. If you watch any mainstream media and you're a Trump supporter, you're probably worried. I'm not worried. Oh, yeah, Mr. Boot, I see that. Keep getting matches in the 30 year. Yeah. Well, you'll see this. This is what's interesting about online dating is it can get super boring and repetitive. But on the same token, that's why it also can become really easy for guys because it's so predictable, so repetitive that once you kind of learn the game, it can get a lot, more exciting, I guess, a lot more interesting in that arena. Or else you'll just be dealing with the same boring old conversations. 3 words, 100% predictable. Oh, boy. You guys see I got my Patriot beanie on. Why am I not worried, Joara? I'll cover it at the very end here a bit. Again, even if I start talking about it now, who knows how quickly they'll shut people down. I hear it's going to get worse in the next couple of days about censoring on certain issues, of course. But I'll go over a few reasons why I'm not worried. And, anyway, I want to start talking about it already, but I'm going to wait. Chad's talking about the Sharpies. Yeah, all right, guys. Here we go. So our opening question for today Oh, well, it doesn't have to do with our presentation. It's just describe your thoughts on the United States election. But today our topic is the 3 types of women today. And we're going to kind of dive into what you're going to find today and some things to be wary of just to get a better understanding of what's out there. All right, here we go. 3 types of women, and looks like our sound should be fine. I will play video here shortly. So here are the 3 types that we're going to talk about today. And this is just going to be a general, easy categorization. I probably won't have the same definitions of these as you might be in your mind, but I'm just grouping them for the sake of explanation. So we have the Modern Thot, the Chameleon, and the Unicorn. Again, for simplification, we're just narrowing it down to these 3 little types that you might find. So here's the goal of today. The goal is to understand your options out there. These 3 types of women will show up in all sorts of packages. The common theme, though, regardless, the common theme these days, if you legally enter an agreement with any of them, whether we talk about the Modern Thot, the Chameleon, or the Unicorn even, in today's day and age, legally she will have all of the control. Again, will all those women use and yield that control over you? No. But legally they're going to get control regardless of these 3 types of women. So always keep that in the back of your mind. All right, but the first one we're going to talk about here is the Modern Thot. Who is she? And so just to sum it up is a generalization, because we've talked about thought and all that before, but what I'm going to put in this category is the type that goes with the current themes and trends of society and culture. Because again, right now we know that society and culture has amplified the thottery to a crazy extent. So any woman that goes along with mainstream society and culture, she's going to have these thought tendencies in this kind of generalization here. So think about if she listens to Call Her Daddy, that show. We've broken that down, multiple times. There are women right now, because they get like millions of views, that if you were like, hey, do you know what Call Her Daddy is? And she'd be like, oh yeah, I know what that is. Boom. Instantly, she's a Modern Thot. You can categorize her in that way because she's following along with the society and cultural norms, which that show is really enhancing and preaching. Here's another really easy, simple one, especially if you guys are in college or if you're going around to parties or something like this, you'll see this all the time, is when the Cardi B WAP song comes on, if she has ever tried to perform the WAP dance, put her in the thought category. Again, think about that. This new, dirty, raunchy song comes out. Society and culture praises it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And now you have all these parties. That music goes on, and you'll instantly, this will be fun for you guys if you're around this environment ever. That song comes on, you'll instantly look around, and you'll be able to probably point out at least 80% of the women. They'll get like that little glimmer in their eye of, ooh, I got to do my dance here. So that is how I'm categorizing in this little presentation about the kind of what is the thought, what is the modern type of woman that you're going to run into. And it's going to be that she indulges in society and culture. And actually, let me give you one very brief counter argument. One that you could, so let's take this for example. Right now, it's so mainstream, pro-choice, woman's body, woman's choice, right? So if you had a woman that was openly pro-life, that to me is like, okay, look, notice how she is not going with society and culture. She's not just going along with it. That's when you go, okay, wait a second. She might be in one of the other categories we're going to talk about. But anyone that just goes along with the mainstream society and culture, she is going to have the kind of mindset that we're going to be going into. So we have a video here to start with to kind of explain in more detail what I mean by this modern type of girl, this modern thought, and what kind of attitudes you're going to see. All right, so this first video we're going to go over, this is shout out to the channel The Roommates. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. I'm subscribed. I've only seen a few videos. I'm not sure if it's, I think maybe this guy and one other guy, I really don't know much. I just seen a couple of videos. But this video is titled The Truth About Modern Woman. Oh, about the modern woman. And we're not going to get the very start. You don't need to hear. It's kind of a long intro, basically. But we'll get started right when he kind of gets in his talking points. Which starts right... Ooh, actually... Check this out. Actually, there you go. That's a little reminder. You guys, the subscribe and notification bell. Make sure you're hitting that, or you're probably not going to be notified at all when I post a new video. That notification, boom, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna start right here. Okay, he's gonna help kind of break down what I categorize there is the modern woman, and then, you know, stay on your toes, guys, because I'm gonna quiz you a little here.
All right, guys, let's jump into it. And part 1 of this series is called The Truth of the Modern Woman. So let's go ahead and talk about it. You see, growing up, guys, I grew up very, very, very naive. I grew up on anime. I grew up on romantic comedies. I grew up on, you know, all kinds of, you know, girl books and girl stories and all kinds of hoopla that Disney spewed out. And I came to a conclusion that women had 3 major values that they cared about in life. The first thing that women cared about, in my opinion, was getting married. The second thing I thought women cared about was having kids. And the third thing I thought women cared about is having, you know, long-lasting and fulfilling relationships, right? That's what I thought they all cared about. So I navigated my entire life with that premise. And I thought that, you know, every girl wants to be married. I'm a guy, you know, so all I got to do is be there, care for her, be sweet, be the perfect guy, and then she'll want me. Wrong.
Okay, so the very first point that he brought up, which we can all probably relate to at one point, is that he said that his starting out, what he thought all women wanted was 1 was marriage, 2 was kids, and 3 was long-lasting relationships. And he even mentioned, because of the own programming, like we always talk about, the Disney movies, the programming that we're constantly get, the love songs. So his mind, he grew up with, again, right, like we can say, like a lot of us grew up with, like myself, blue-pilled mindset, beta-mon mindset. And remember those 3 things, because that's important, that marriage, kids, and long-lasting relationships, that's what he used to believe women were looking for. That, again, is that fairy tale that we are kind of grown up, indoctrinated into.
Literally wasted the first half of my 20s talking to 2 girls who never wanted me, no matter how hard I tried. And I realized at this point that I was doing everything all wrong. And I wasted my time. And I don't want you guys to waste yours, because the modern woman is not like that. Like, that was true maybe in the 50s and 60s, but nowadays the modern woman is totally different. Like, she is completely evolved, right? She's no longer this sweet and innocent Charmander. Now she's this feisty and assertive Chameleon. And I don't think everybody was a big fan of Chameleon. So,
okay. No, the only thing I disagree with in that scenario was kind of his wording, because he does say that the modern woman has evolved. Although I looked up the definition, theoretically the definition of evolved, and it actually kind of fits. It's like became more complicated. Not evolved in the sense that a lot of women will kind of say, like, look at us, we're so awesome, men are lagging behind, women have evolved to this new goddess, and men, you know, have just been stuck in the dust. So again, I haven't seen a lot of videos from this guy, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. The word evolved is just means transformed or changed, not like he doesn't, again, I've only seen a few videos of this, he doesn't put women on the pedestal, in my opinion, from the few videos I've seen. But I want to put that one last thing because that is a really actually good analogy. The char, because you guys know I talk about Betamon from Pokemon. You want to throw someone? Yeah, whatever. I want to talk about this right here.
Longer this sweet and innocent Charmander. Now she's this feisty and assertive Chameleon, and I don't think everybody was a big fan of Chameleon. So,
yep, right there. Okay, and that's kind of the transformation too. When you go from blue pill to red pill, you notice, oh, girls aren't the little sweet innocent Charmander. They're more like the Chameleon type. There's a whole different side that we were never told about.
how has the modern woman evolved? So my thing is the modern woman's values have changed. So in the past, I would argue that the number one value that women had was being married. Nowadays, that's not true. Most women care about having a satisfying career as the number one value. Number two, their desire was to have kids. Not so much as much. Now they care about having financial stability. Number three, their value was going to be able to have, satisfying relationships. Not as much. Now they care about, self-sufficient, self-reliance, and self-love, right? To be able to have happiness on their own. So let's go ahead and break that down a little bit, fellas. If I told you that person A cared about having their career, financial stability, and self-reliance, who would you say person A is?
All right, you know what? He kind of gave us a quiz set up in his video, so let's just do this justice. I can't put a Prince quiz label on this one. Definitely not. It's not my quiz. But what do you guys think, right? If you heard person A, who would you guess that is? Their priorities are career, financial stability, and self-reliance. Who does that describe?
Ding, 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 ding. Correct. You would think person A is a guy. So what you notice, guys, is that the modern woman has traded her normal feminine desires for more masculine desires. Like I said, women have evolved. They have changed. They're not like the women in the 50s and 60s. They're not Betty Drapers anymore, right? They're now Peggy Olsen's. Like, ooh, that was a good one. I like that one. So women have changed. And how does that now affect you guys? Let me explain to you. Not only have women become way more masculine, now men have become way more feminine, right? We're kind of the byproducts of what I consider, the nice guy, low testosterone, mama's boy generation, right? There's a whole generation of women who had sons and were like, I don't want my sons to be like the mean guys in the past. I want them to be these nice, sweet, good old boys that, everybody loves and everyone cares about.
Okay, so he, again, described, and I agree with everything he's saying right now, we have a generation of masculinized women and feminized men. We talk about that all the time. It's such a divide of, when, the roles are just basically flip-flopped from what is more naturally suited. So that part, totally agree. And he says that, this has happened from a generation of mama's boys basically raising these sons, which is, again, we know when you really peel it back deeper and deeper, the spread of feminism has basically destroyed the traditional family. And now you got the single mother by herself, and she got big daddy government now that she looks up to and feeds on to. Now she has her children in the public school system getting indoctrinated, and the perfect system for big government there to keep them reliant. And so again, right, we kind of see, when you can kind of peel it back and you see he's observing exactly what we observe. It was the mama's boys generation. Now, again, when you dive deeper into that, you start to understand that the whole feminism and then getting, fathers out of the house and all that stuff, we've dived into that whole, arena as well. But again, he's pointing out some very observable phenomenon going on right now in the world that we also see.
So now you have to see how this works, guys. Like I said, the modern woman has been leveling up, right? A lot of studies have showed that when it comes to high school degrees,
Yeah, that actually, I got to stop him there. I will disagree. Now, again, he has a bigger audience than myself, and he probably placates to both sides, men and women, right? My channel's for men. I don't know how he runs his channel, but that language right there, the modern woman has leveled up. That again is that to me is fake news. But I'm not going to get stuck on that because the rest of his information is pretty good. But again, it's just good to point out those little notices. If he has an audience that has women, it's smart of him to say something like that in there. It is smart of him, commercial wise to do that. So he's in a different situation than I am. I'm straight for all men. He has a bunch of he would probably lose some of his followers if he changed his lingo. So I'm not going to, hang him out to dry on something like that.
More women have high school degrees than men. When it comes to bachelor's degrees, more women have bachelor's degrees than men. I believe master's degrees as well. Then what most people don't know about is that under the age of 30, women make more money than the average guy. Then you factor into that a lot of women have their own homes, a lot of women have their own places, and they have their own cars, and a lot of guys don't have these things. So a lot of women have become so much more masculine than the typical guy. And what you don't realize is that though women have become more masculine, they're still women. And romantically, they still desire masculine men.
Yes. Again, things we always point out. But the whole part about this too, and again, this is when we talked about, I actually might have this up here. We talk about it quite a bit. The curse of hypergamy. Is a woman dates around her hypergamy, never settles for a man she already knows she can get. So by the time she meets a man that should be a great fit for her, she sees him as lesser and takes him for granted or ignores him. Now also factor that in, right? A woman's hypergamy, she's going to always try to date up or marry up. And since, like he said, more women now are going to college than men. There are women that are getting higher paying jobs now than men. So if you take a step back and you have no idea about red pill or biology, you could go, oh, good, yeah, it's about time, which is what most people kind of get sucked into, the mainstream talking points. But when you realize hypergamy and how this and monkey branching and the whole game of things, you understand what a complete disaster this becomes. Not only for any man that signs up to a legal contract with a woman when she decides to leave and now he's, screwed over, but it also completely annihilates the happiness of women, especially these more motivated or driven women that are rising to the top of their fields, and they're now just their hypergamy is at such an insane level of what they expect from another guy, they're never going to be satisfied. So the curse of hypergamy is a big thing. What he mentioned here, again, I already thought about it, and next week, unless something else big comes up, the next week's topic, because I want to break this down even more, is going to be talking about the social gap between men and women, because I think that's an important topic and I want to dive into it. So I'm not going to break it down right now. That'll be next week unless something crazy happens. But anyway.
And David Data had this amazing test which really proves this to be true. This is how you know what you desire sexually, whether you desire masculinity sexually or you desire femininity sexually. Let's take this test to find out. So would you rather pin your partner down in bed as you make love to them, or would you rather have your partner pin you down on the bed as they make love to you? Or would you rather feel your lover surrender swoon in your arms, or would you rather be swept off your feet by a strong and sensitive lover? What you're guys going to find out is most women are going to pick the latter, right? Most women are going to rather desire to be pinned down, and they're going to rather desire to be swept off their feet. They desire that masculinity. And so the fundamental issue is that most guys are no longer masculine, and that's the number one thing that creates that sexual desire and sexual attraction to women. So here's how this...
Okay, now I wanted to point this out too when I heard this, because like I've said, he's observing everything we're observing, and he's bringing up topics that we bring up a lot. And what here the biggest problem with all this, and this is where I did my shift. Some of you guys saw me do this shift, but I saw the same problem that he's seeing. Is that the problem is, right? Women have leveled up. They have all these things going for them. And now the men are lagging behind. The men are not as socially calibrated. The men are not able to like look at body language and read that voice tone, all these other things that women can do because they've just had so much more experience out on the dating market. So when I came in 2016, when I started the business that I have of actually helping guys get better at dating or getting better with women, I came in with probably exactly what his mindset is. And I literally was just like, guys need to learn how to hold their frame. Guys need to learn how everything they do, there's a reaction in the women. So the more men learn to, hold that masculine frame and they're texting and they're online dating, when they go on dates, all that stuff, right? Women will react better to them. That was when I came into this, that was my goal, my mission. I was like, nice, easy. I see that that's a problem. I see when I look around at relationships, I see the woman's like leading. I see that the guy just like holds her bags and just goes along. And I'm like, dude, that guy needs some help. That's how my mind was wired when I first came into this. Where I shifted is I now teach red pill first. And then I teach game to guys that want to learn game. That is where I did my shift because that is the gap that I was missing was, and this is what some guys in the comments said. They said, you need to be careful. You need to be careful because if you teach guys game, they could get themselves in a lot of trouble legally from marriage and then from blah, 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 no fault, like all these things that at the time, again, those of you guys that have been following me for a while, you remember, I didn't even know. I just wasn't aware of that. I haven't had divorces in my family like almost at all, and none of them have been messy from all my relatives and people that I knew. So that was something that I had to learn. So that's where I always want to point that out now to guys is like that's where he's talking about. He's pointing out the problem he's pointing out is correct, but that is where again I think it's more important for guys to learn the red pill first now. Be like, hey, here's the things you get yourself into. Here's the things that could happen legally to you. And then if a guy's like, okay, I hear all that, but now I want to get better at the game. Now I'm like, okay, now I can come in and help you with that. So that's a shift that a lot of guys remember. There's newer guys that come and follow me that hasn't, heard other presentations, but that is the really important part is that, yes, learning all about this with women, it's going to really help you a lot when you're in your interactions with women, but you have to really look into the legal system too before you make any big commitments, or that can be a life ruiner.
Messes you up in relationships. Most guys, I would argue, are good guys, which are different than nice guys. And good guys want relationships. So while they care about career, they also care about relationships. So their values are 1A career, 1B relationships. But women are different, right? Like I told you, the modern woman, her value, number one thing is career, two, the financial stability. So relationships may not be as high on their list. So a lot of you guys can multitask. You can do both, and a lot of women can't. So when you're trying to meet a girl, you're trying to start a relationship with her, she may not want it. So now you appear needy, you appear desperate, and you start hearing things that traditionally men have never heard. Like, I'm not ready for a relationship. Or, I must focus on my career right now. Or, I'm just too busy right now to really give myself to somebody like that. Those were things in the past men said to women. And now women are saying these things to men. And so that's what a lot of you guys, if you're honest, have dealt with and are going to deal with. A lot of women just not desiring you sexually, being in the masculine and seeing your need for relationships to be very needy and, to be honest, very feminine. So how do we navigate this, right? How do we navigate this reality moving forward and create a better dating future for you guys all? The first thing is that I'm going to teach you guys how to be able to discern a feminine woman from a masculine woman, right? Because at the end of the day, you want a feminine, receptive woman versus a more masculine woman who just won't be receptive to your leadership or even at most of your desires. But the big thing, which the next video is going to be about, is how to be a masculine man that most women sexually desire. That's really what a lot of you guys need to work on, being this more masculine man that creates sexual attraction to the modern woman, which we'll talk about in the next video.
By the way, again, a point again I'm going to say, that will absolutely help in a lot of cases. There are a lot of guys that just have not tasted success with women, And by changing your behavior, by changing your mindset, changing all that, you will change the reaction you get from women. But again, pump the brakes already and understand that when that happens, that will mess with your mind. And then you'll run into a girl that you've never been treated this way because you're holding your frame differently. You know that you're the prize. You know that she's lucky to be around you. You have this mindset. She will treat you like you've never been treated before from a woman. You're going to go, this is amazing. This girl is a unicorn. Not realizing that she is treating you well because you are playing the game better. So again, that's why I always warn guys, and I have to caution you about that too, is the better you get with game, the more aware you have to be, because it'll be hard to discern between the next two types of women that we're going to go into, and that's where you're going to get yourself into trouble, again, if you try to involve yourself legally with a woman. Do we have, I think we have a little more of this video, then we'll move on to a different one.
Like I said, guys, I can go on for days. I may talk a little bit more about this on Patreon, but this is just a basic overview of the modern woman. And the biggest thing that you guys need to understand is that the modern woman is not this feminine housewife who just sits at home thinking about boys all day long, wanting to be married. That a lot of these girls are more masculine, more competent, and more confident than the average guy. And in order for them to really be swooed off of their throne and desire relationships, they need to encounter a masculine man or a man who is more masculine than she is. So, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
Okay, so that was the first video, and we're gonna tie it in with the rest in a bit. But I wanted to bring up stuff that he mentioned, like the marriage, kids, long-lasting relationships, and some other things that he touched on. Let's do a few of the comments from that video, just for fun. Remember, that was the truth about the modern woman from the roommates there. So we had top one here. It says, when a woman finds a guy she's deeply attracted to, she will become traditional real quick. All that independence and feminism will go right out the window when a woman finds a man she really likes. Maintain that masculine frame, be an alpha, never stop pursuing your purpose, and all these independent women will discard their ambitions and chafe after you. Trust me, I see it happen all the time in my life and in the lives of fellow masculine men. He's correct. All right, below this. If you're a masculine American man who desires a traditionally feminine woman, it's going to be tough finding one in America. It would be much easier to go to another country. That's changing too, guys. Other countries are being indoctrinated just like American women are. There are beautiful women in America, but if you watch them closely, you'll find that most of them are very masculine. These days, true femininity is rare. Wolfgang Kelly says, men, do not waste your time with modern women. Jackie here says, as a woman myself, I am disgusted by the way these modern women treat men these days. It's like women are trying to be men and men are becoming more feminized. Correct observation. Again, Jackie here, the way that she's speaking up against this, she's speaking against cultural norms, which the cultural norms is like empower the other women around you, everything about women, empowerment. So she's speaking opposite. So again, that's going to shift her potentially to this other of the two categories. The fun part is, out of the two categories, which one's the real and which one's the chameleon? And then we got Les Hardley. He says, she's not yours, it's just your turn. All right, now, with video one there, we're going to do a little Prince quiz. We got a Prince quiz, guys. Here we go. The first one we have is, what percentage of women would fall under this modern thought category, in your opinion? So a quick definition that we're going by is follows today's culture, society, or like he mentioned, the more masculinized version. A lot of women today, right, have become that masculinized version versus the feminine version of the self. So what do you guys think? What percentage do you believe? So there's three categories here, right? Out of 100%, What percentage do you put in the Modern Thot range here? I'm going to be checking out the chat as I gulp some hard seltzer. Oh, I like that, Mr. Yamabito. Unicorn is another word for horse off the carousel. That's funny. All right, we got 55, 80, 90, 90, 90, 95, 105, 60, 85. Oh, and now it's going down, man. Now it's going down real smooth. We're on to the, you guys remember the last time I had one of these, the mango peach one? I loved it. We're on to the mango peach now. We have in Canada 100%, 99.9, 70, 68%. Ooh, depends on the age range. That's a good point. 60, 10%. Are you? Yeah, Bob Dylan. Yep, that's what the winner gets. All right. Here's a little fun for the. Yeah, we know these modern women are all about this. Because my body, my choice. Yeah, all these modern women, all these modern thoughts is what I think about them.
Come on, man.
All right. And blue state's 100%, 1,000%. Okay, so we had, the first one was the modern woman, the modern thought. Boom. Now, again, with the modern thought, here's what you need to beware about. You have to be extremely rational with this type and understand she does not hold marriage, kids, and or long-term relationships as a priority. Remember, once you categorize a woman into this category, you got to understand, this is just like we saw in that video. This is not the Disney love. These women do not hold any of these three things as a priority. Maybe they go, well, I still want it eventually and I deserve love. You might hear stuff like that, but like these women do not hold any of these three things as a priority. And I already say avoid the things right now with the legal system, but just really imagine that if you are going to dip yourself into a type of binding agreement legally these days, then you better really vet and make sure that she has some type of priority on these things. These type of women will not blink an eye to move on to something else, something better, because their priorities are different. So as we saw from your guys' percentages, they ranged, I think, from 55% up to 105% of the women you're going to find with that type of attitude. Now, let's move on to the second category. The second category, the chameleon. Who is she? Who is the chameleon? Again, you might have a different definition in your mind than I do. For the sake of this video, here's how I am clarifying who a chameleon is. To sum this up, a chameleon is the type that knows what to say and what to do in order to get what she wants. Now, the reason why this is different is, okay, girls like this, the WAP girls, the Call Her Daddy girls, they're the girls that go, I'm strong and empowered. I deserve blah, blah, blah. You better treat me like blah, blah, blah. You better do that. You hear their queen mindset, right? The chameleons, you're not going to hear that is part of the trick. The chameleon knows what to say and do in order to get what she wants. So therefore, there could be a chameleon right now watching my video. And I know there are women that watch my videos. I know that some women in my life watch my videos. And they can soak this information in, and then they could spit it out on a first date. And you or some other guy on a date with them goes, oh my God, it's a unicorn. I can't believe it. She knows exactly what to say. She might, lead into the date somewhere, and she might talk about, oh gosh, I'm so sick of feminism. I'm just, I've always just wanted a family. I've always just thought, like, just treating my husband like a kid. Like, you might hear her lead on dates is with those talking points. Chameleons know what to say to get what they want. So the example we're going to look into for this video is, I'll be honest, I've only seen this one video of this woman here. So I don't have a judgment on her one way or another. I really don't. I have no idea. But we're just going to break down this one video from, her name is apparently Shan Boodram or Shan Booty or something she goes by. Apparently, I don't know. But I saw this video, and we're going to break it down a little bit. It's Shan Booty. Now, this video is framed as Shan Booty explains why beautiful women struggle with dating. All right, now, again, my definition of chameleon isn't necessarily what yours is. I don't always look at a chameleon as a bad thing, and I'll explain why after this video, but it's a very risky thing. It's a big-time gamble. Wait, I showed you that, right? Yeah, okay. Yep, this was also on The Roommates. She did an interview with, I guess, the roommates. What do I have here? Let me see. Did I crack open my new beer, my new drink? Yes, it's full. We're good. This is ready. We're good. We're good to go.
Years later, I'm like, okay, the same thing was happening with me with dating. I still wasn't having those great connections. I was getting a lot of my own ways. I was getting ghosted. I wasn't finding joy in that. And so I started studying pickup artistry and seduction and influence and connection. And that transformed my life in every way. And I thought, how do I package all these great books into an interesting read?
Just so you guys know, just so you heard, right, how she started, she started to read a bunch of pickup artist books, a bunch of game books, seduction books. And hey, I'll say this, I could be considered a chameleon. Any guy that learned game could be considered a chameleon with my definition. So again, the intent behind it is what's going to lead to bad or good, whether you use that power responsibly or not.
Like, I think it's quite fascinating, just even you talking about struggles in dating, because you're obviously a very beautiful woman, very intelligent.
Thank you.
Know? and so most people wouldn't assume that you would have some challenges. Like, what were some of the challenges that you were facing consistently?
I don't know if you guys are on Instagram. Every hot girl complains about dating. The hottest, like I said that about Brittany Rayner, who's...
I didn't have a strategic reason to pause this other than my mouth is watering. Dude, this is so good, guys. This flavor is so good. It's the peach, because I've had mango before, and mango doesn't do it for me. It's like, all right, I've always loved peaches. Mango peach, guys. This is just tasting. I just saw a little picture of or a little comment about Garden of Eden in there. I just feel like I picked this ripe, perfectly fresh, ripe peach off of a tree, and I'm biting into it, and it's so good and tasty, and it gives you a buzz. Like, that's the type of peach tree I'm trying to plant in my backyard. Yeah, Tim, I didn't like how he kind of started that off with the, simping in a sense. But again, I know that not everyone sees the world through the same lens as I do. So I try to give some people some leniency here and there. All right, well, I just lost my whole train of thoughts. We're just going to listen a few of that back.
I don't know if you guys are on Instagram. Every hot girl complains about dating. The hottest, like I said that about Brittany Rayner, whose book Judge's Cover came out. And I was like, this is such an affirmation. Like, if this woman has a ass like a coffee table and still has...
Coffee tables.
Huh?
I like coffee tables.
Yeah, it's a very nice, very, very nice, authentic coffee table.
Oh, authentic.
Oh, you touched it.
No, I mean, I've seen the gym.
I thought you
I'm really not an aficionado at what is or isn't real. I'm not good at that stuff.
Okay.
But I would assume I see the gym work. I mean, whatever. I don't
Okay.
know. It looks wonderful. It's whatever form. But I would say that like there's no face of what somebody who's a bad connector looks like. And that's what the art of seduction teaches you, is that there's 9 different ways to be highly seductive and to be great at connecting with others. Only one of those has to do with how you look. And looks is a depreciating asset.
All right, that right there. Now, she started with a lot of really attractive women have problems. A lot of hot women or whatever have problems dating. Now, we know why they have problems dating. They're all going for the top 20%, the Chad and Tyrones. Those guys have unlimited options, so they don't put a lot of commitment into these women. They're chasing the guy that they can't attain. They're unsatisfied. Their hypergamy keeps raising. And then eventually they lose those great looks they had, and they still have these expectations of going after the bad boys when they were these Instagram models and all that stuff. So again, the curse of hypergamy, we see it over and over again. But what she did point out is this is a big factor for women, okay? She says that in the art of seduction, which I by no means hold, I've read the art of seduction once or twice. I definitely don't hold it as like the godfather of attraction or seduction books at all. I got a little bit bored reading it. Yeah, there's some good things here and there. But the point is, she mentions that in that book, there are 9 ways to be seductive. And only one of those has to do with your looks, your appearance. And think about that. So many women these days, when we categorize the modern thought that just goes with society and culture, and they think that the only thing important is their WAP and if they can twerk or not, right? So in that instance, right, all of these women believe that the most important thing, all she has to do is look good and be able to give a good blowjob, and a man should be lucky to have her. Oh, all I got to do is be able to twerk and ride him and, rock his world in the bedroom, and that's all that matters. So that is kind of the thing that they're not learning the traits that used to separate men and women and that made women valuable to men. The different like roles, right? The women that used to know how to do a bunch of other stuff. The women that used to know how to cook and do the cleaning or the it doesn't have to be those traditional roles you say it, or sewing. They used to bring something else to the table that a lot of times could benefit a guy's life. But think about this. So many women these days grow up like, I want to be an Instagram model. I want to be an OnlyFans model. So what do they work on? They work on their twerking, or they work on their ability to garner a bunch of attention from people. So they're working on one trait out of the 9, as she mentions, on seduction, and they're wondering why them just being good looking and hot isn't enough for them to land these high status Chad and Tyrones that they're going after. But that is a good realization to her. Again, why is she in the chameleon category? She understands that. She understands now that what she didn't understand before.
There's a study that was done that's like there's no proof that people who date somebody who's hot have relationship satisfaction.
Yeah. Have you heard the study where it says it's actually like sometimes the more attractive you are, the more difficult it is for you to find somebody in a romantic relationship? Have you ever read that before?
I haven't, no.
Oh, it's quite fascinating.
Yeah, I would say it is, but I mean, I was also a dick. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
Elaborate.
Yeah, I've never gotten along with teachers my whole life. I'm a very disagreeable. I would say, like, cause someone actually said to me, because when I started, doing sex as a career, that sounds like a prostitution.
You said
Well, that's how my parents interpreted it, actually. But when I started, talking about sex as a career at like 19, 20 years old, my parents were so angry and upset with it and against it. My mom's reaction was so visceral, and I didn't give a fuck. And so a part of the reason I even have this career is because I'm a dick. I'm like, I don't care what anyone else thinks, I'm going to do it. But that's the thing too, is a lot of the qualities that we have, to your point, that aid us in certain areas in life actually prevent us from being successful in others. And so that headstrong, I'm doing things my way, I don't care what anyone else thinks, this is who I am, take it or leave it, really helped to propel or start my career, but it was stopping me from making healthy romantic connections.
Okay, that point that she bought, and I'm in kind of an interesting bubble, I guess, in this sense now, is because now that I'm considered an entrepreneur, once I left teaching, I started my business, and I've gone to trainings or courses, programs, all that stuff, and you meet other entrepreneurs. One of the most common things, probably the most common thing, if I run into a single female entrepreneur, the hardest thing she has with finding men is she literally has such a driven, competitive mindset. She's so into this competitive field, the entrepreneur, the driven, the, go, like the Gary Vee type mindset, that they have a really hard time realizing that they're coming across as like a boss or as very aggressive or masculine to other men. So yeah, that's a problem, but then again, it's even an amplified problem here because a lot of the female entrepreneurs I know, some of these women make really, really good money. So now you have these female entrepreneurs. Now, again, a lot of female entrepreneurs are going to have no money, right? But just think about the type of mindset, right, of someone like this. Like she was saying is, she had such a dickhead personality, which allowed her to succeed as an entrepreneur. It allowed her to start a podcast talking about sex or whatever she does because she had this I don't care what you think type attitude. Again, when I say that a lot of women entrepreneurs I know, that is the hardest thing for them is to come out of that masculine energy because they've spent their basically whole life indoctrinating themselves into this aggressive mentality. And now when they deal with another man, they can't turn that off. And the thing is, the men that they want, the men that even in the first video we saw, they want a guy that's more masculine than they are, and they're already pretty masculine. Well, those guys that are the most masculine or the most alpha, or the other entrepreneurs that are doing really well that they're attracted to, those guys are like, ugh, you're one of these masculine women. Get away from me. Why would I need that? Because, right, that guy, the entrepreneur that has made his own success, he has his own driven masculine mindset and all that. What does he have? Why does that benefit his life at all if there's another woman that brings that same masculine driven energy and he already has money, he already has a business, he already has that? It's like, so that's where a lot of these female entrepreneurs have a really hard time because of all these intersexual dynamics in their own mindset and just the training you have to go through to survive basically as an entrepreneur also hardens up your mentality if you're not really careful about separating the two.
I had to acknowledge at one point that I'm like, the common denominator is you. Like every Subway sandwich you go to, you get in an argument. Every airplane you're on, every relationship you're in, and agreeableness is the number one trait which determines relationship longevity and success, or someone's ability, which we're told nice people finish last, but in truth, nice people stay in the race the longest.
I actually let that slip on my notes because I was like, this will just sidetrack the conversation way too much if I talk about that. Yeah, we know that there's not good advice. Again, don't take dating advice from a woman.
I heard that. So the traits that you saw, like what made you change? Or how did you start going through that process with some of the things that you did?
It's troubleshooting when you're like, oh, something's not working. And then you can do the troubleshooting what a lot of people do, where they're like, other. Men ain't shit. This person ain't shit. The world ain't shit. Dating ain't shit. You can do that for a while. And I did that for a while.
Right there, you hear that? That is where she was the modern thought for a while. You heard exactly what I'm going to rewind that just so you hear. This is okay.
Things that you did.
It's troubleshooting when you're like, oh, something's not working. And then you can do the troubleshooting what a lot of people do, where they're like, other. Men ain't shit. This person ain't shit. The world ain't shit. Dating ain't shit. You can do that for a while. And I did that for a while. And then eventually I was like, maybe that's true. Maybe dating is shit. Maybe it is hard. Maybe it is trash. But there are people who are doing well. Yeah. I can't deny that. There are people who have success in this area. I'm just not one of them. And if I want to be one of those successful people, I got to start paying attention to what they're doing that I'm not. And that's where books came into play, or just being an observer, or being a listener and a learner, and being able to make important changes in my life and my own personality. And then I think that's when I had a massive shift.
And that's dangerous. Now, again, I'm going to break down when we get back to the slides about I don't see all chameleons as a bad thing, but it's dangerous. She understands the power she has now. She learned. She went through her years of whatever she was doing that didn't work. She read a bunch or, researched a lot about game seduction, and then she learned what she was doing and how to do it better. You got to be careful.
What was the biggest thing that you changed that you felt like caused the most drastic shift in your life?
My disagreeableness. I honestly would say, I'm married now, and my number one advice for a healthy marriage is developing your shut the fuck up filter. There's so many times that I always want to voice my opinion or say how I would do things or give an alternate route. I'm just always, and then if I just be quiet sometimes, and even if something it doesn't please me, sometimes I want to correct right away. But if I just be quiet, one, sometimes it actually pans out even better than I thought it would. Or number two, it's let that person have the joy of having their vision come to fruition. Just like you want to assert your vision in this moment, they also want that same feeling of knowing they did it their way.
Wow. Okay. I just thought about this because I'm kind of hearing some other things too from this, and I'm I want to know what her husband looks like. I want to see them interact. Because now that I just reheard that, and I didn't even have this written down in my notes, but now that I reheard this, okay, it just gave me a new thought.
I'm just always, and then if I just be quiet sometimes, and even...
Oh, wait, no, it was 404. Here we go.
Caused the most drastic shift in your life?
My disagreeableness. I honestly would say, I'm married now, and my number one advice for a healthy marriage is developing your shut the fuck up filter. There's so many times that I always want to voice my opinion or say how I would do things or give an alternate route.
Okay, that right there, what she just described, this is interesting. Okay, she just described what most men hear during marriage counseling. Most men hear during marriage counseling that you need to listen to her and stop trying to provide a solution. Stop trying to fix everything. Stop trying to jump in and just listen. That's one of the trainings you have to hear. Which again, we'll talk about the unicorn here at the end and stuff. I just don't have a desire. I just think I was created to be an independent single man. Because even stuff they talk about when you're in a relationship and it's you're going to want to fix her problems, but you got to learn to just listen and just say, yeah, keep telling me about that, and just let her talk it all out. And you have to kind of bite your tongue as a man. But so all those games just don't sound fun to me long term. I prefer the one night basis type thing. But anyway, I thought it was interesting that she had to learn she had to learn what men have to learn in relationships, in marriage relationships. Shut up, let her talk, stop trying to fix things, just listen, keep getting it out of her, let her feel like you understand her, and let her feel like, you're hearing her, blah, blah, blah. Isn't that interesting? So that's why I want to see her husband, because I'm wondering if he's just a total... I'm wondering. Beta on. I don't know. I don't know at all. Now that I'm thinking about this, I should have done it beforehand, but I just became curious about it. But yeah, so she has to learn that. Listen one more time to that.
Caused the most drastic shift in your life?
My disagreeableness. I honestly would say, I'm married now, and my number one advice for a healthy marriage is developing your shut the fuck up filter. There's so many times that I always want to voice my opinion or say how I would do things or give an alternate route. I'm just always, and then if I just be quiet sometimes, and even if something it doesn't please me, sometimes I want to correct right away. But if I just be quiet, one, sometimes it actually pans out even better than I thought it would. Or number two, it's like, let that person have the joy of having their vision come to fruition. Just like you want to assert your vision in this moment, like they also want that same feeling of knowing they did it their way. So like shutting up and like shutting down that voice in my head, which, stopped me from being a good student, where I was always trying to one up the teacher or say how things could be better, but versus like, if I'm trusting you to partner with you, I actually have to trust you. So that I think was my biggest shift.
No, absolutely.
Do you guys have something like that for yourself that you recognize? Like,
Oh my gosh.
You don't even want to go down that road.
So I actually just pulled up on my phone it just had a "We Are Married" one. I was seeing with her.
Ever touched territories that you've got me into? I've never got to
I don't know, man. I don't have time to like really break it down yet. I want to know now, and I'll probably look at some videos after this and see if she runs a relationship or not. Her and her hubby or whatever. But I gotta actually see how they interact a little bit. All right. Oh, I will give her a little credit here. You can tell she's an entrepreneur. Look at this. She learned another skill. When we talk about the chameleon, look what she does at the end here. She tells her story, and most people will do this, but especially women. And this is why I always say, do 20% of the talking, 20% of the texting. Women should be talking. Women should be texting a lot more than you are doing. But this is just a good human psychology, just a good skill of being likable, is watch how after she talks, she actually puts it back right on those guys, and then you'll see that the dude that hosts this, he all of a sudden just goes into his own world telling his story because everyone likes to talk about themselves. So watch that. This, again, she's a chameleon. She's learned skills. So I know that she probably knows what to do too in an attraction setting if she learned the right skills.
up and like shutting down that voice in my head, which, stopped me from being a good student, where I was always trying to one up the teacher or say how things could be better, but versus like, if I'm trusting you to partner with you, I actually have to trust you. So that I think was my biggest shift.
No, absolutely.
Do you guys have something like that for yourself?
You see that right there? She finished, and then they were just going to keep talking or do a follow-up, and then watch how she changes it, and then you'll see she actually gets the guy. This is her winning in this entrepreneur game. Now on a date, right, you want to do this as much as possible and get it back on her, and she won't even know what's happening. All of a sudden, she's talking all night, and then she just falls in love with you because you're such a good listener, Mr. Prince Charming. But watch what she does.
I actually have to trust you. So that I think was my biggest shift.
No, absolutely.
Do you guys have something like that for yourself that you recognize? Like,
Oh my gosh.
You don't even want to go down that road.
Trust me. I mean, man, for me, the biggest thing that I saw.
And the video's over, but notice that. That's just watch how different it look at the guy on the right that we saw in the first video. He was about to kind of stumble and just kind of fumble and then make conversation out of what she just said because he's interviewing her. She's read a bunch of game books, seduction books, all that, but she's also read entrepreneur books, business books. She pulled this maneuver on them, and I can recognize this, right? I understand her training. She knows what she's doing. Even in an interview where they're interviewing her, she's putting it back on him. That's how also you can tell she's a chameleon. She understands these things. And then watch him from fumbling to all of a sudden, both of them go, oh, you're going to put that on me? And they both light up. They both could tell their story.
No, absolutely.
do you guys have something like that for yourself that you recognize? Like,
Oh my gosh.
You don't even want to go down that road.
Trust me. I mean, man, for me, the biggest thing that I saw.
See how smooth that was, that she transitioned in that, and then all of a sudden he just got lost and like he's excited. He gets to tell his story again. It works in everybody. We're all human beings. Just another one of those kind of like social games going on under the radar. All right, let's break this down a tiny bit more though. Oh wait, no, we got some comments though. We'll do some comments and then we'll break it down. So this was the Shan Booty whatever. All right, Cece says, sometimes beautiful women feel so entitled. On the other hand, beautiful women are desired by so many men, it's difficult to separate the lustful from the genuine lovers. I've talked about this, guys. This is, again, it's put yourself in a different perspective. It's easiest for us to sit back and be like, man, all these simps are all over these women, and these women are just a bunch of thoughts that just take this attention. But again, I've said it before in this perspective, but you got to understand psychology. You don't have to like the system or the culture, which again is why I'm MGTOW. It's like the system and culture is set up right now really poorly for long-term relationships to blossom. But think about a woman's mindset. Think about this. On the other hand, beautiful women are desired by so many men, it's difficult to separate the lustful from the genuine lovers. This is why women are cutthroat about this too. Not only because monkey branching and they have some biological things in them, but again, remember this. Since the time as a woman is probably 11 years old in whatever, classes she's in grade school, then in middle school, then in high school, she is constantly getting complimented from men, from simps, from everybody, constantly. So again, you got to think psychologically how that would affect you, because again, us men, we don't have that. We don't even have to think about that or worry about that. But these women that are getting complimented constantly, oh my God, you're so beautiful, you look so good. And again, in her mind, she's like, what is he talking about? I have like 2 zits on my face that I didn't have last week. I know that I don't look as good as I normally do. In her mind, that could go on. But these simps keep complimenting her. You're so beautiful. Oh my God, you look so great without makeup. And in her mind, she's like, no, I don't. So think about how often women then get this perception that all men are a bunch of liars just out to get in their pants. I mean, really think about that difference. You can't trust a man's word in a woman's perspective, because all of these simps are like, I would give the world to you. And these girls are like, why? You don't even know me. So again, we can sit back and go, we understand why women have this entitled mindset. I totally understand it. Psychology-wise, how could you not be affected by that if every day, we don't live through this. Every day you go to the grocery store and you get hit on. Every day you have somebody in your DMs talking about how great you are. I hear this, I see this all the time too, or like on podcasts or something. If it's like a guy's interviewing a woman, and especially if she's like attractive or something like that, it's like the guy just like giggles, laughs at everything she says. He's just like pedestalizing her. So these women walk around with a completely different reality because simps lie to them so much. Simps are like, oh, you're a queen goddess, you're amazing. And this woman knows like that shouldn't be the case. So again, no wonder she walks around thinking all guys are out to get her. It makes sense. Simps are the worst. Simps are, I think, the common enemy. Okay, so Grease says, hot girls don't have trouble dating. They have struggles finding meaningful relationships. There's a difference. Yeah, that's true. Miss Holiday, shutting up is the best thing I could have ever done. Yeah, smart move, you ladies. The common denominator was me. This realization will change your whole life. Yes, it will. Kenneth says that. A man says that, right? Because a man understands taking self-accountability, self-responsibility changes your life. If I take responsibility for everything, I actually have control. That's what a lot of people don't understand, and there are a lot of men also that don't take responsibility. You can say maybe you're raised with a single mother or not a strong masculine figure. But again, a lot of people, the easy route is not taking responsibility, shift the blame, put it on somebody else. But it's disheartening if you really think about that too. If I take the blame for absolutely everything, then I actually have control over every experience in my life. Versus, right? So let's just say I went up and talked to a girl, and if a girl like rejected me or shut me down, it's like that's a fear. I don't have any of that type of fear or anything anymore. But just the mindset of the way to look at it is like, I could go in there and blame her. Oh, she's so stuck up, all that stuff. It's like, but if I do that, I have no control over my own life, my own experience. Versus if I went up and talked to a girl and it didn't go that well, and I was just like, oh, dang, maybe I came on a little too strong, whatever. It's like in my own mind, right? If I take responsibility, I now can go, I know what to do next time to be better. I actually have power over the situation, which you just give all your power away if you just push the blame on everyone else. But that's neither here nor there. The last comments here we got is Jay Bradley saying, finally a woman admitting she was her main obstacle to a happy and healthy relationship. right? Look at these guys saying stuff like that. Finally, a woman did. We know that in general terms, women don't take responsibility for things. So if she does, there's a potential she learned it and she's a chameleon, or there's a potential she's a unicorn. But again, the unicorn doesn't mean everything is going to be magic rainbows and fairies. All right, we'll get to that one after we do a quick little vote here. We have Prince Quiz. I got caught reading the comments. Prince Quiz. We've got what percentage of women fall under the chameleon category? So the definition of a chameleon is they know how to play the game to get exactly what they want. They know how to play the game the right way. I'm not saying there's a difference between some people could say, oh, the girls on female dating strategies, they know how to play the game. They don't. We've seen that they have bad game. They just copy what men should do, and they think it should work for them, which it doesn't, because men and women are different. But the girls that really know, they know exactly how, they know how to repeat red pill talking terms if they need to. They know how to praise a man to get him just begging for more compliments from her. She knows psychology. She knows game. That type of thing. What do you guys believe is the percentage of women that fall under this category? So this is different than the modern women, right? The different from the modern thought. The modern thoughts don't know how to do it. They just think they're goddesses and people should worship them, and it doesn't work. They end up old, angry cat ladies. That's different than the chameleon. Remember, the chameleon's different percentage because she's not the one that just sits there and goes along with all the mainstream. She's going to have differing talking points because she's a chameleon. Oh, we got a lot. 99, 95, 19, 15, 99.9, 80, 95. Yep, I see that match under your right. I've had the horse's mouth. That's funny. Oh, Tim, look at this. My sister once went to my aunt saying she felt bad for cheating, and my aunt's response was, "What he doesn't know won't hurt him." Yep. It's such a different world than what we were growing up taught. How women look at the world and all that stuff. So, yeah, okay, there we go. Now we're seeing other ones. 20, 40, 25, a little bit lower there, 20. Because you gotta take out whatever you just guessed for modern thoughts, right? You got to factor out of 100%. There's going to be the modern thoughts, there's going to be the chameleons, and then the unicorns. How do you break that down as we kind of go through there? Okay, here we go. What are we at now? We're on next one. Okay, now this one is going to be the most controversial because I'm setting a very low bar. We're going to... Oh, wait, no, we're still on this one. Never mind. Okay, the chameleon, guys. Here's what you need to be aware of. Be aware... Okay, actually, this is huge. Forgot about this. Be aware that when she decides to change... Excuse me again. It's game over. The chameleon knows how to get what she wants. Although it may be fine, it is up to her to be motivated to keep it that way. It's up to her to be motivated to keep it that way. That is why this is such a risky gamble. Because what we already talked about at the beginning is that if you legally involve yourself with a woman, by virtue of that, when you leave, you're going to be screwed. So she gets all the legal power. Will she yield that power? Not always, but she gets that power. That is why if you were to be with a chameleon who understands the game like Shea Booty does, that girl, right? I think that's her name, Shea Booty, that we heard talk to. Then the thing is, Could it be fine? It could be fine. Maybe it works out. Maybe it's happily ever after. However, when she decides to change, it's game over because the chameleon knows what she has to do to get what she wants. The problem is if she ever becomes unmotivated to continue wanting the relationship to stay strong. So you're married, the minute that, right, the chameleon can get what she wants. She knows the game. She knows how to give you praise if she wants to keep you around. The problem is when she changes her mind, it's over. She has to be motivated to want to keep it happily ever after. That is why it's such a danger with the chameleon. Now, here's why I said that the chameleon isn't a bad thing always. It can be good or bad. Here's a perfect example I can give you. Okay. All right. Here's an example of why the chameleon thing could be a good thing in a sense. All right, we're gonna play a fictitious game. We're gonna go down a fairy tale here. This is the ADHD advantage, right? I've one of many of my books I have here of ADD or ADHD. So, for example, let's say you have ADHD or myself has ADHD, and I know from self-reflection, I would be a really tough person to live with. I'm a very independent person. All of that, right? There's going to be things too where, like I said, truth matters more to me than anything else. If someone's trying to lie or BS me, I'm going to call them on it. If you're not authentic, I'll sniff it out and then I will lose respect for you. It's just how I'm programmed. So, for example, if I were to ever play in this, fairy tale game and I was like, hey, if I was ever thinking about committing long-term with a woman, I would say, you have to read this, not necessarily this book, actually. This is not my favorite ADHD book, but it was just close at hand. I would say you have to read this book and understand what you're getting into with me, because when something happens, blah, 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 you're going to have to understand why, because my brain works differently and it's not going to make sense to you if you don't understand this. So in that instance, right, you could see how if I was doing that, it's like, I want her to be a chameleon. I want her to learn this information and work, because if she doesn't try her best to keep me engaged in the relationship, I'm going to want to leave. So I would need her to be a chameleon in that sense and to understand when certain situations happen, you're going to have to know how to react to this, because I'm not going to put up with BS type stuff. That is where if I gave that to her, she followed along, it's like that could really help your relationship. But that is kind of the idea with the chameleon. It's like, but it's at a risk to her. She could also know the cheat codes then of how she can tick me off type things, or how she can try to get back at me, or she'll know my weaknesses in that sense. So that's kind of an idea of where the chameleon can be a good or bad thing, but it's a total risk, because remember, as a man, you front all the risk legally when in family court or in divorce court. So that's why it's such a stinking gamble. And then again, to be fair on this, right? Any guys that know game, kind of the same way. You're chameleons. If you're a Chad or Tyrone watching this right now, this is another thing you could say. If you ever got married, is a chameleon, right? And you know how to keep a woman attracted. You know what you're supposed to do. You know you're supposed to let her talk and not fix her problems. Like, if you know the game areas of what you're supposed to, do to be a chameleon, right? You could look at this and go, yeah, I know how I could probably keep her pretty interested in me long term. But even for you, right, as a man, think about this. You'll have to be motivated to keep it that way. What if your wife in that case then balloons up and you're not attracted to her anymore? Are you going to be motivated to keep holding your frame and doing all these other things to keep her attracted to you? What if she complains all the time? What if, there could be a lot of things. Are you going to be motivated to keep the game up to keep her attracted to you? Or are you going to be like, nah, I don't want to? So you got to think about that same exact scenario, but flip side with the woman having all the power. And then again, it's even worse, because if she leaves, she's rewarded or incentivized for that because of the legal systems set up in favor of women and against men to just be pretty blunt about it. So the chameleon, gotta beware. Could it be good? maybe, but you have to be so careful about this, because how will you know when she changes her motivation? Okay, now here's where we're gonna run into maybe some controversy here, which is fine. So here's the unicorn. Who is she? I'm being very lenient here. To sum up the unicorn, and if we're going to talk about the unicorn in a sense of very rare, very hard to find, think of my standards for the unicorn, guys. I'm not saying she has to have a certain, a certain chest size. She doesn't have to have, this, perfect hourglass figure, right? I'm not giving you the 6 6s. Like if you asked a woman what her unicorn man would be, it would be unbelievably crazy. It would be every romance novel she's ever read all combined into one superhuman dude, and that wouldn't be enough for her. But listen to my unicorn. This is the bar of the unicorn thing here. She has a traditional conservative mindset, who is self-reflective and takes responsibility for her actions. Boom, ladies. That's a frickin' unicorn for a woman these days. What is a unicorn for a man? You're a multi-millionaire. You have 6 houses. You have, 4 private jets, and goes on and on and on. You got 10 inches in the pants. You got blah, blah, blah. Do. You guys know, I can only imagine how fun that would be to figure out what a unicorn for a woman would be. For a man, this is a unicorn. A traditional conservative mindset, who is self-reflective and takes responsibility for her actions. Now, when I say traditional conservative mindset, right, that can very much be a Tradcon Tommy, a chameleon. That's different. Think about Tradcon Tommy. Tradcon Tommy has supported pro-choice before. That is not a traditional conservative woman. Tradcon Tommy knows what she has to say for the talking points. And she mixes a little bit of that, of being swept in with the culture and society, pro-choice, all that stuff, right? Tradcon Tommy is a chameleon. So if she is a legit traditional conservative, and I say this because I know women like this, I do know them. Are they few and far between? Yes, but I know them. Tradcon mindset, that means she's not afraid to speak up with stuff like, right? If she's pro-life, that already tells you she's not going with the mainstream type thing, right? But she's that traditional conservative. All of the women that I know that I can think in my head that like that's a Tradcon type. If I can really boil it down, it's like either right now only one of them I know is single, but the other ones I can, if I really thought about, like they're right now married with 2 or 3 children right now. They got swept off the market because they were unicorns. And again, it's rare to find, but this is pretty dang doable, guys, wouldn't you say? Traditional conservative mindset, self-reflective, and takes responsibility for their actions. It's like I just named like a Christian boy. That's what I just named right there. All right, so let's talk about the unicorn a little bit here. And someone, shout out to somebody like months ago told me I should watch this Guitar Girl. I don't remember who it was, but if you do, props to you. Thank you for sending it to me. Let's go. Let's look at Guitar Girl here. Oops, I'm on the wrong video. And yeah, guys, don't get me wrong. We're going to finish up with this. I have a low bar for the unicorn, but again, the unicorn doesn't mean happily ever after at all. That's like, no. There's still a lot to go along with that. All right, let's see this Guitar Girl. I think she's really quiet. I hope this is going to be loud enough. I'm going to turn this all the way up.
I made a previous video called Are Career Women Attractive? You all had a lot to say in the comments about the one Moroccan girl who's holding a guitar. She really was fun to talk to, and I want you to see more of what she had to say, including something about women and surfing. So here it comes, a Guitar Girl highlight reel.
Girls and boys are not equal, scientifically speaking. So if you're against even science, so you need a planet or you need a world of your own. The man is naturally strong, so you have to let him feel it. If you're gonna be strong as him, what is left for him to do? I don't say that like women doesn't need to be strong, but they need to be strong in the woman's way. The woman who thinks that they need to be more bossy, they're gonna find a lot of problems. I promise them.
All right, the first little point she had on natural differences. Appreciate the roles, understand there's differences between men and women, and appreciate what you can't do and what they can do, vice versa. Again, guys, remember the bar I'm setting for unicorn, right? It is low, theoretically. But again, that's what we are left with in today's world. This would be considered a unicorn.
My ideas, I brought them from my family, so I didn't see that in my family, but I've seen people who thinks like that. And I found them so pathetic and busy with like bullshit and stupid things instead of living the real thing. Girls who like trying to be literally a boy, even changing their shape. A boy like tells them you're less strong, you're weak, I'm stronger than you, I'm allowed to do this, you're not. It makes them crazy. It makes them crazy.
Now, she did start that off with she grew up and she didn't see it in her family. That's why I mentioned again the difference of the, if you actually talk about the unicorn, is it's a mindset that's been instilled in her for a while. The chameleon can understand the tradcon talking points or can watch red pill videos and then all of a sudden start their own channel or whatnot and chameleonize this. But again, like she said, I never saw that in my family, right? That's part of the tradcon mindset that she's grown up with. Not all of a sudden that, hey, I just figured out, if I say this and this, I'm going to get some more attention type thing. She basically explained, too, today's westernized, college-educated woman. It's like if you say as a man you can do anything and that a woman can't do, it melts their mind. It blows up their brain. It makes them scream. My body, my choice. Oh, they just can't live with it.
We're not 100% allowed yet in people's mind to surf. They keep like bringing us down. You can't surf. Surfing is for boys. You need to be strong to surf. And we defeated that. We showed to the world that we can do it.
Okay, so that... you guys know I think feminism is a bunch of gibbly-goo garbage. But that was her point on what she agreed with feminism on, is that she still saw that there would be, boys that say you can't surf because you're a girl. And she's like, well, feminism proved that, yes, we can still do that, we can surf. I'm on board with that type. Okay, I think most people that have a real problem with, actually, feminism, it started and then it kind of created a monster. But still, that is totally, I'm on board with that. I don't think that's stupid. If a girl's like, I want to surf, and a guy's like, no, you can't surf, I'm a guy, the guy's an idiot in that case. But we know what the mainstream was, and this is why she doesn't buy into the actual feminism. She said the one thing that she liked about it was, well, now, I can show men that I can also surf. It's like, that's totally fine with me, because if I was born a woman and I wanted to surf, I would hate if someone told me I couldn't do that just because I'm a woman. That would drive me insane. But a lot of the other stuff that we see is absolute insanity from feminism.
I don't need someone to help me with everything. I feel like helping him and helping me instead of needs him to help me in my job. My job is being a wife, right? So his job is being my husband. I'm gonna be strong enough to never let go of my husband, to be standing by his side all the time, all his problems, because I'm so sure if I did that, he's gonna of course notice and admit that, and he's gonna do the same.
Okay, that right there, that attitude is what's so key and what's missing. Is she said exactly what is men we know. It's our weakness as men, that protector provider instinct. She said that she knows that if her man or whatever, if she got married, she'd stick by her man at all times. Now, again, we know that talk is cheap. If she was in the situation, we don't know whether it would play out like this. Again, that's why it's never a guarantee with a unicorn. We all know that, of course. But still, the idea that she recognized that if my man is going through troubles, if he's going through things, if he has issues, I'm going to stick with him and support him because I know that if I do that, he will see that, he will remember that, and then he will want to do the same for me. That is what used to be taught. That was the type of stuff when men and women used to be on the same team versus this war of men against women and the future is female and all that crap. So I'm gonna put that just that little part there, because I think that's so key. Like, women just don't understand this part. How soft on the inside a lot of guys are when you feel like you can actually trust somebody.
His job is being my husband. I'm gonna be strong enough to never let go of my husband, to be standing by his side all the time, all his problems, because I'm so sure if I did that, he's gonna of course notice and admit that, and he's gonna do the same. If I was trying like to be bossy, he's just gonna run away. And it's normal. I don't blame like men like that. I don't blame them. I believe more in love than marriage. So maybe I might accept to be married, but if the basic is the love. Maybe my point of view is a little dramatic, but this is the way I see things. If I was like with my husband or the man I love, like we created a world of our own, and in this world we have our rules. The rules is gonna make us be together forever.
Yeah, and I see something like this, like Jonathan Brown says, i.e. the golden rule. Yeah, but see, these are the things that we take for granted, and we kind of think that if you do this as a man, that it's going to always be reciprocated. No, not at all. This is why I labeled this girl as a unicorn. She sees that the golden rule should be followed, and that makes her a unicorn. Right? But most when that happens, when a guy's like, well, I'm gonna show her that I'm there for her, I'm gonna do all this stuff for her, and a guy's thinking the golden rule. But on most women, all of those modern thoughts, or even a lot of the chameleons, when you do that, they go, oh, this guy's a simp. Oh, he's doing too much. Oh, he's overextending himself. And then she's like, she looks down upon that guy. So again, the golden rule works with a unicorn. And not even all the time at that, but it's a good thing to bring up there.
When my mother gave me birth, I wasn't walking, I wasn't talking, I didn't even knew how to drink my milk. Since our birth, we were always dependent. We needed people. The man is stronger than me. I should be like already had like 5 years in Kung Fu or something, so I can beat him. A man in the same strength of that guy who tried to attack me, I'm sure that he's gonna protect me. I'm a normal girl, so I need a man to love me. And if I was dependent, I wouldn't even need love. I would like to live alone. Once he found me, I was so depressed. And the first thing he thought about is like getting me out of it, helping me. Once I found myself in his world. We're living together, of course, and like we're cleaning together, we're doing the dishes together. I never asked him to do that, and he never like asked me to go up and do that. I won't like lose time to think about that, who's gonna do the dishes. So they can feel control all the time. If I was like more successful than him, like he will feel like losing control over me. But it's wrong, you know. if I was like more successful than you, it's because I did I did more effort than you. So simply, you know.
Okay, so I'm going to give her props and credit because, again, you don't see a mindset like that very often right now in America. But the fact that this has been shown to me or told to me, like, oh, have you seen Guitar Girl? Oh, man, that's a unicorn, right? And so many guys go out of their way to be like, oh, yeah, Guitar Girl, what a unicorn. And you listen to that, and that's just like, you would think that's just like a normal mindset you would have if you wanted a healthy relationship. But that is a unicorn these days. It's just wild. The expectations we have gotten have been so lowered that just having the golden rule type attitude is like a complete unicorn right now. So let's do one little, let's talk about that though, just real quick on the, we got some comments for that one. So this was Guitar Girl. Jim's from a Guitar Girl, a true unicorn? Question mark. All right, so we have Good Day Mate says, she is the oracle we need for all feminists to learn from. Daniel Furtado, Pimpin' in the Rain, I saw that comment. And that went in my mind, but again, I wasn't trying to be mean because I'm on her side for most of what she said. So. All right, Daniel Furtado says, it's kind of sad to realize that this way of thinking is so rare amongst women. Exactly. Isn't that crazy, guys, that thinking is a unicorn right there? And I'm going to give her props for saying it, but it's nothing special. Nathaniel says, wow, what rationale. Exciting. She became prettier as the interview continued. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I would agree with that because that's where the personality, it's like, oh my gosh. That's why you see so many simps on, if it's a girl that speaks any sort of truth about red pill, even closely, it's like us guys build up like this unicorn image of where it's like, oh my God, she finally understands. She understands. No other girl understands type thing. Because it's so rare, which is just funny to think about it. Jason says, wow, pretty bad A chick. That's the kind of chick you want to fall in love with. She loves being a woman and loves being a woman to her man. If only I could get so lucky. Don't simp, dude. Jukes McGee says, she thinks like a guy but is still feminine. This has got to be a trick. Are women that are secretly watching this, we're giving you game plans if you were to take it. Look how easy this is. Look how many look at the comments of that video. How many guys are impressed? To the point where I did a video about this. Like, this is a unicorn and it's not that special. But again, it's that special compared to what is left in the crop today. Abir Zari says, I know her personally. She is such an amazing and lovely person. I wish to you all the best, girl. All right. So there we go. That's the unicorn now. Beta one. Let's go with... we got our last quiz for this one here. Boom. We've got a Prince quiz. We've got the unicorn. What percentage of women fall under unicorn? Now, again, guys, the definition I gave is pretty lenient. All right. If you were to say a true unicorn, whatever your mind is of a unicorn, it probably doesn't exist. But when we gave the very basic definition of they have a traditional conservative mindset, take responsibility for their actions, and are self-reflective. Just those three bottom barrel of the traits. Just we're only doing those three. We're not talking about anything else. You could not be attracted to this girl, right? But if she has this mindset, what percentage of women do you believe would fall under this category of unicorn? What percentage would you give out of 100% of women? How many? You see 100 women, how many of them will have this type of unicorn attitude? All right, we got 8%, 5%, 1%, 0.01%, 0, 0.1%, or 0.1%, 0.5%, 25, 15. It's a trick question. 1 per mile. Less than 10%. Yeah, this, guys, if I wanted to give a legit, like, what a girl would do for a guy type unicorn, I could have made this where we could have legitimately said there would be 0 women if we made our, like, Build-A-Bear type list like a woman would. But with this pretty lenient ones, yeah, we got 2 unicorn, 2%, in their mind, 98%. That's funny. No such thing as a unicorn or narwhal. Unicorn is a very odd way to put it. Yeah, I put it, well, if you look at, let's see. Was it this right here? Oh, yeah, screenshot from, a true unicorn. So I wonder, because we hear us talk about unicorns all the time, but a unicorn could mean anything to any of us, right? I wanted to actually give a label about what would be rare. You consider a unicorn as something very rare. You're not going to see it very often. It's kind of a joke, right? Obviously, you're not going to say, oh, a unicorn, they don't exist. So using it in the metaphor, very, very rare, I wanted to put some type of definition to this to really get a percentage about what we think. Unless you're Amish. Yeah, I wonder what the demographic, I should go try to game some Amish women and just see what it's like. Okay, so we got a little thing here to finish up with. Now, here is what we need to understand, guys, about unicorns. I think guys, too, wrongfully assume that if you said this girl is a unicorn, she has those traits, they think that's again, right? That's all it takes, and there's no headaches involved. That's not true at all. See, what you got to be aware about with a unicorn is be aware that she is still a woman. Whatever definition you have for a unicorn, you have to be aware that she is still a woman, which means she still has biological urges, hypergamy. You'll still have to find her and attract her and play the whole game. So even if you found out that there were 6% of unicorns in the world, all that tells you is there's 6% of women that 100% of men should theoretically be going after. That's the only type that you would want, right? So it doesn't mean that, oh, I heard there's a unicorn out there. Oh, great, I'm going to go out and marry the next girl. No, it's like that's the starting point. Understand, weed out all that other crap, and then you get with that, and then you're still dealing with the rest of the package that comes along. You're still dealing with when, she's upset and all that stuff, and she wants to come vent to you, and now how do you play it, and how do you do that whole... You're still dealing with an actual relationship. The difference is... it's like, I don't even know what the difference is. It's like, I wonder how many these unicorns with this mindset we could have even said would have been this probably used to be more of the norm of what was preached in culture and society. And again, like now it's like non-existent. Again, I know one single woman. Now, okay, actually I have to finish with this because that's where this will kind of, all right, so here we go. So for the 3 types of women you'll run into, in my own mind, here's how I broke this down. I broke down that I believe the modern thought or whatever, or the modern mindset we hear, the, masculinized women, the whole first video. I believe that that's probably about 80% of women in today's world. 8 out of 10 women are going to you put them in that modern thought category. Now, to be fair, which I said I'll talk about on the social gap probably next week. To be fair, if I were to say, who is a beta mon out of men? If I said, if I was talking to women and said, how many men are beta mon out of all the men? It would probably be the same. 80% of men are beta mon. So in the same sense, a woman could be like, all right, well, yeah, 80% of men are also off the plate like Betamon. It's probably realistically kind of true in that sense. So the Modern Thot, I believe about 80% of women are going to fall under this category. Now here comes the fun. Between the other two types, the chameleon and the unicorn, that falls under the Pareto principle, 80-20. The 80-20 rule, the 80-20 principle with all things. Combine, these other two groups combine to be 20% of what's left over of the rest of the women. Now, here's the fun, guys. Here's the fun. I don't know how to decipher in this 20% which are the unicorns or which are the chameleons. Nobody does. Because again, right, by definition of the chameleon, they know what to say to get what they want. So that's where this becomes fun. 80%, it's already like, nah, I'm good. 80%, I'll hang out with the 80%, right? I'll hang out with 80%. I'll make a drinking game out of the new Disney movie with the 80% here. But if you're a guy that looks towards any type of relationship, again, that's just not my style. I know other guys do. You can weed out the 80% here, and then you're left with the 20%. Good luck. Gamble. You feeling lucky tonight? You want to flip a coin and 1 out of 5 times, you're going to get the... Actually, no. Out of the 20% there, now you don't even know. What are you going to get? I like surprises, but I don't like surprises if my entire livelihood are put up to risk that surprise. So, good luck. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Corey. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, now, here's in conclusion, guys. In conclusion for today, these 3 types of women will show up in all sorts of packages. The 3 types, the modern woman, the Modern Thot, the chameleon, the unicorn, they'll show up in different packages that you might see. But the common theme is if you legally enter an agreement with any of them, that means marriage, that means common law, depending on where you live. She has all of the control, all of the legal control, even that unicorn. So even if you do all the digging and the finding, that's why when I say I'm a man going my own way, it's like, cool, there are going to be women that maybe you could fit and maybe make a relationship work or whatnot. But the system is set up so even if you found that woman that you consider is a unicorn, she still has all of the legal control, which I don't want to play that game, me personally. I don't like that. I don't like to have that leverage over me of somebody. So it makes it pretty easy for myself. Probably makes it pretty easy for most other guys that have kind of looked into this stuff. But that's how I look at it. 80% are going to be Modern Thots. 20%, it's a surprise bag of the chameleons or the unicorns. Have your fun. Have your pick. Good luck. I see the free agent lifestyle. Yeah, man. Shout out to CGA there. Free agent lifestyle. Because right now, if you think about the Modern Thots, the 80%, they're literally living like a free agent in such a way that, where are we going? Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Think about this. Most modern women, the Modern Thots, are living like free agents from a professional sports team. They're like, look at me, I'm hot stuff, I can twerk, I can WAP, and I got all these simps that want me. So they're like, hey, I'm on the free market. You're going to have to pay top dollar for me. They live their life like they're a free agent superstar on the market. That's what the women do. So that's why I do love this. I've told him before, Coach Adams, like, I'm jealous that he came up with the free agent lifestyle. I wish I would have. That's so great to put it as far as the bachelor lifestyle. Really good stuff. So shout out to CGA there. All right. And to end, guys, give us what are your thoughts? I'm going to drink a little beer. Post in the chat, what's your percentage breakdown of modern thoughts versus chameleons versus unicorns? What percentage, now that we've talked about the three, if you had to split it up at 100%, what would you put them at in your own opinion? Doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's wrong. I don't know. 90% thought, 9.99% chameleon, 0.01% unicorn. What is the male version of a thought? Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so when I think again of, actually, I could go two different ways, and I don't think I could answer this. Yeah, I could go two different ways. On one thing, if we're comparing thoughts to they just get swept up in the mainstream and they go along with society and culture, then in that lane, the comparison to a thought would be a total beta-mon simp. They just go along with the society programming. Oh, I'm supposed to worship women. I'm supposed to pursue women. They get caught in the mainstream. They never think deeper about it, and they live their life that way. But in more of like a player arena, like a thought of looking for attention and validation in that sense, it might be like a gym bodybuilder that takes a bunch of gym selfies all the time and posts them on their Instagram all over, just trying to get, attention and validation. The difference I would say is if someone does that for their actual business and they're doing it to get customers, then that's a business move. But if you got the guys that are taking like the gym selfies trying to get attention and validation, all that, maybe in that area, it might be the version of a thought. But so kind of depends on what avenue you look at that. A male thought is a beta-mon. All right, Lostwood says that, yeah, I think that's probably right. They go along with the programming. Just like we say, right? It's not women as a whole that are dysfunctional. It's a society that has allowed hypergamy to run rampant that makes 80% of the women completely dysfunctional. So, yeah, just like that, 80%, again, I would say if it's a woman looking for a lasting relationship, she's probably looking at it going, 80% of these guys are simps or beta-mon. So in that sense, 80% are going to be out of the market for her as well. Although it's different, there's similarities you could kind of correlate to it at a philosophy level. Well, we'll play into this one more time. You teach me and I'll teach you. Beta-mon. Beta-mon. Jonathan. I like that, Jonathan Brown. Yeah, you're right. A beta-mon sounds extra funny to you because of, it sounds like a beta man. Beta-mon. I don't even know where it came to me. I was just like, don't be a beta-mon. Yeah. 60-20-20, it is a big world. Living by Denver, 80-20. That's another good, that's a good also description is it's going to be different where you live. 90-10-0. 60-30-10. Excuse me. Save a simp today, says the horse's mouth. I have a level 5 beta-mon. 100% of women are chameleons, 90% of thoughts, but different gradients. Yeah, so I could look at this comment, I could agree with you about chameleons. It's just in the way that you kind of define chameleon is really where we could argue. Because I think that women are chameleons by nature that we always talk about in a lot of senses. But when I talk about an actual chameleon, I'm talking about the ones that know game. These are maybe you don't even know what I'm talking about. There are women that know that praise is like the thing that men crave more than anything. Praise and recognition. Those women that understand this, see, most women don't understand this. They don't even try to play the game. They got simps throwing themselves at them. So most women don't even understand that. They're just the modern thought or whatever. But the women that actually are chameleons and they know psychology. They know that, I want my husband to provide for me. I tell him, it turns me on so much when I see you providing for our family. Those are the type of comments that guys go goo goo gaga for because men crave praise and recognition. Think about that from a socialized standpoint. Again, right? Women get praised all the time from simps all day long. Men, we all know you have to work for praise. You have to work for accomplishments. You have to work for any recognition in this world. So think about it from there. That's so missing in so many men's life. That is like such a hot spot for the chameleon women if they really know this. And that's where I even factor it again. She could be a chameleon that understands this, and now she could use this to manipulate, get a guy to commit, and then screw this guy over in the court system. Or she could use this as a way to keep her marriage happy and healthy. But it's all her control, right? It depends on where she feels motivated to use this or not. That is where I separate the difference between chameleons. Yeah, all women have a sense of chameleon in them, but there are some women that actually know what I'm talking about. They actually understand game, which is totally different. Ooh, hey, Sid and Varen, I want to hear this. Sith are better than Jedi in my opinion philosophically. I want to know what you mean by that. I'm curious about that. That's interesting. It's like the heroes versus villains in all these shows. It's like the villains have way more room to operate on because they don't have as many rules as the heroes do. Oh, classic meme. I don't think I've seen that. Yeah, you got to trust your instincts. Yep. Okay, so we talked about boom, get that drinking in, and boop. Yep, all right. That was what we're at now. I don't know. I might have to take a quick pee. We're going to have a short little second half because honestly, too, I want to get back in and dig more into what's actually going on. We do have a little something to talk about in the second half, but just so you guys know, and I don't do this very often, but I've been working really, really hard on this, is on December 1st, guys. Now, if you're completely out of the game, you don't need to worry about this. But I am right now working on this. It's going to take me the rest of this month to put all together. Texting school, guys. I'm putting this whole program together. Stop simping, start pimping. It's a 12-level program teaching any man how to turn his cell phone into a deadly weapon of seduction. Again, December 1st, that'll be announced. I'll be talking more about this as I kind of figure this out. I'm putting it all together right now. But as a side note, if you are a Princeflix VIP member, lifetime or a monthly member, you don't have to worry about this because you get everything in there. So whatever I add into Texting School will also go into the membership. But for everyone else, guys, I'm going to break this down like you've never seen before about texting, how to attract women through texting, how to set up a date, how to get them to drive towards you, everything you can think of, 12 different levels. That'll be coming because I'm still, spending a lot of time putting that together right now. But yeah, that'll be in the future, guys. And, if you think about it, this whole quarantine thing, just like jobs, so many jobs are going offline or offline, right? Where you're being able to access things through the internet now. A lot of jobs are going to have their whole hiring process will be different. This whole quarantine is going to shake up the dating world too. If you don't know text game, you don't know digital game, you're going to be screwed. There's just going to be no other way around it. So that'll be coming in the future. Do I have to pee, guys? Do I have to pee? I might have to do a quick pee. It won't be, and I'll grab another drink. Okay, so here, I'm going to just do a 2-minute timer. And then we're just going to talk a little bit about what's been going on with the election. And then I want to get back into that and kind of see what's going on. Again, I'm not worried, even though a lot of people think I should be. So let's do a countdown to 9:01. 9:01 p.m. Boom! Okay, 2 minutes and 40. Go ahead and grab a drink or whatever. Go pee if you need to. The jet. Oh, good call, Sinvern. Man, I want to look into that more. That's good. Hey, I went back and grabbed what I was missing earlier. See, look at that, the mixed berry hard seltzer, man. That's what I gotta keep this on ice, though. That'll be for later. All right, I got 30 seconds, and then we'll do a little recap about what's going on. Thank you, Chad Hart. 3 words to describe. What we got here?
Fake news. It's fake, phony, fake. A great, great wall. Fake news. It's fake, phony, fake.
Okay. All right. I got my Patriot cap on, guys. Let's just do a little talking about this. And, I mean, okay. So, as far as the opening question, right? Describe your thoughts on the USA election in 3 words or less. Here we go.
Fake news. It's fake, phony, fake.
All right. Now, wait. We're looking, right? It's still not officially been called, right? Let me double check on my phone here. Just me. Oh boy. Let's see. Presidential election. Like I said, guys, I'm not worried. Yeah, 264 right now for Biden over Trump at 214 is what I have right here. Okay, how do I start this? Let's see. Maybe start with well, first off, you guys might know JLP here, Jesse Lee Peterson. This is just an example so you guys can see what's going on all over the place, and it's going to get worse. The fact checking, like when have you guys remembered an election like this? He says President Trump is going to win Arizona and Pennsylvania, and you get a fact check on your tweets now for stuff like that. Like, this is not an official election, blah, blah, blah. So that's JLP there, our guy JLP. So here's one thing that I want to bring up to tell you guys why I'm not worried. And this is from our man Sideshow Bob's Lessons. I've showed you guys his videos before. From June. This is Donald Trump in June. Now, again, if you follow 17 Anon, they've been talking about election interference for a long time. If you don't follow 17 Anon, you don't know what I'm talking about, then it doesn't matter. We'll skip that part. But DJT here on June 22nd of 2020 says, rigged 2020 election, millions of mail-in ballots will be printed by foreign countries and others. It will be the scandal of our times. Now, again, on one hand, you could look at that and go, oh, he just says a bunch of crazy stuff. He'll be wrong. Great, whatever. I wanted to show you this to just remember that. Remember that he said this in June 22nd of 2020. All right? Now, the other reasons I'm not worried is I would actually have been, it was weird if they would have announced all the election and all that stuff and it would have just been a normal election. It would have been kind of weird. I knew something funky was going to happen. So one thing I think about too is, again, I don't know how many of you guys have been following 17 Anon this whole time, or you are Trump supporters, or I don't know, maybe, no, none of you guys are Biden supporters, right? Come on. No, come on. But even think about everything that has been thrown at Trump. What did it start with? The Russia collusion investigation that he started with when he won in 2016. Then we had Ukraine. We had Trump get impeached. And if you remember, I did a video right after that, and I was like, guys, don't worry. It's not actually going to go through. He's not going to be officially impeached and all that stuff. So remember, for 4 years, the news has never told you a single real thing. They've been lying about everything. They've been pushing agendas about everything. Russia collusion, Ukraine collusion, all of these things. Trump's a racist. Trump's a sexist. Trump's a xenophobe. So I even mentioned last week that I didn't know whether we would have election results or not this week or not, because I was like, well, what they're going to try to do is the mainstream media is going to try to keep it alive and say that Biden won in whatever way they can do that. And then, right, theoretically, if they own 93% of the media is like owned by the same 6 corporations. So most people are not going to actually understand what's really going on. They can say whatever the heck they want to say. So you already got to understand you shouldn't be trusting the mainstream media, period, if you've been on this journey for a while. That means that everything you're hearing right now that is so scary and all that stuff, why are you trusting the media? This has been planned for a long, long time. Well, I guess if you're a believer in 17 and on. But let's look at some other things. Okay, so here's something that we heard about. I purposely voted in person on Tuesday. I found it odd that when I went to fill out the ballot, the only option they had was to use a Sharpie. Sharpie gate here. A bowl filled with Sharpies. The guy even said to me, go ahead and grab a Sharpie. Apparently, I'm not the only person this happened to, and now my ballot is showing canceled. I've reported this and filed a complaint. I keep hearing different things, but last I heard was that all of these ballots, or of all the ballots that had yet to be counted, were for yesterday's in-person votes. I'm sure this will get flagged or taken down, but this is not right. Yeah, you guys got to bet. That's why I'm saving this to the end. I'll finish tonight with something that someone posted on the boards. We talk about the boards, like the Chan boards, that leads me to believe, there's a chance that this video won't be up past tomorrow, which again, right, what I'm talking about is nothing crazy at all. I'm even being careful with what I'm saying. There's a chance all of this is gone, which is fine. And again, I'll end with that at the end. But that's the Sharpie thing. You guys might have heard about that, Sharpie Gate in Arizona. Big thing. I've seen multiple videos. I've seen a bunch of other posts about this type of thing. I've seen people uploading their screenshots showing that, they're looking to check if their vote was counted, and it shows canceled on the Arizona website or whatnot. I'm seeing other people are saying, well, it might not, you won't see if your vote counted or not for another week or two. Again, right? A whole mess that we're going to see here. Now, here's from my group of liberal friends. I get to check in on them in my Slack group, and I get to see where the actual normie mindset's at with this whole election, which is really interesting. But they just posted something, and I don't say a thing in this because they literally won't hear a word I say, not a single word. They are so focused and set on Orange Man bad and Biden is the hero. The 47-year politician Biden is their hero. But anyway, they post something like this in. They're throwing all the counteracted news that they hear. Someone says something about Sharpie. Well, they already have the media that puts out something about how Sharpies do not invalidate your ballot, right? So again, the media controls everything. So it's really hard to get across any of these things about election interference or any of that other stuff. Again, like I said, a lot of this stuff gets taken down, deleted. This video might get taken down or deleted. So people don't even see that there could potentially be something wrong with the Sharpies right now, right? This is where all of my liberal friends' minds are at, is that, yeah, that's a lie, that's fake news. And then they have an article ready to show it because the media panders to them. So here's another guy, Adam Krigler. I don't remember where he lives now. He used to be on Tim Pool. You might know what he's talking about. He flew back to Arizona to be able to vote the day of because he's like, oh crap, I'm registered in Arizona. I got to fly. So he flew to Arizona to do his voting in theoretically his home state or whatnot. Arizona voting information site is showing me my vote has not been counted yet. Just got off the phone with Arizona officials. I won't even know for at least 2 weeks if my vote was counted. He talked about the Sharpie thing as well. And then we have things are looking up. Stop swallowing black pills. Guys, stop swallowing black pills. Again, I get it. When you look at the internet, you look at everywhere you go, the media, it's going to tell you that Biden's up big. It's going to tell you this. I'm not worried. I know who's ultimately in control. I know who's in control here. Patriots, Trump. I know who's ultimately in control on top of that. I'm not worried. here's some stuff that happened. So, breaking. You guys might have heard about the massive jump in Biden in votes. You guys might have seen that where they stopped counting votes. All of a sudden, they come back and all of a sudden Biden's like a huge swing in his favor. So this was is this Wisconsin? I believe? No, Michigan. This is Michigan. Shiawassee County reported 153,710 votes when it should have been 15,371. So that was one of these things that came up, at first. It was a misprint, a miscount, but again, the media is going to run with it a certain way. Fox News was the first one to call Arizona way early. Again, think about psychology, guys. Everyone wants to pick a winner. So if you say a state or something won before they actually did, and there's still people voting or whatnot, they're going to go, well, I want to be with the winner. Oh, Biden won, blah, blah, blah. Boom. So all of this stuff matters with psychology, a bunch of other stuff. But anyway. We've seen some fumbles throughout this. Here's something for you guys. Check this out. Wisconsin voter turnout by year. In 2000, 67% of people turned out. 2004, 73% turned out. In 2008, 69% turned out. In 2012, 70% turned out. In 2016, 67% turned out. In 2020, all of a sudden, 89.25% of all registered voters turned out. Did you see a discrepancy there? Do you see something that doesn't follow the pattern? Kind of seems like 67, 69, 70 seems about the going rate. 89%. Wow. I wonder if there was any type of meddling going on. I wonder. And if you're actually sitting here thinking, well, there's no way that they would have tried to meddle in something like the election. Have you been following the last 4 years? Have you followed the Russia collusion hoax? Have you followed the Ukraine? Have you followed the impeachment? Have you followed all of this stuff? There's nothing against them that they will not do. Here's another one for us. Okay, so here was something. This was was this Michigan? Where Trump was way up, they stopped counting for the night, and then the next morning, they said like 4 a.m. ballots came in, and 138,000 all came in for Joe Biden, not a single one for Trump out of those ballots. Is that suspicious? Is that fishy at all? So Kevin Sorbo says, imagine if 138,000 votes had appeared out of thin air, all for Trump. Not a single one for Biden. Could you imagine the media outrage, right? Just imagine what would be playing right now if that actually happened, guys. If that happened on the other side, imagine how much we'd hear about this. Again, I say this not to panic you. I say this to you to understand the illusion that's being put on in front of us right now. James Woods, again, true patriot, says, we are at the precise moment where the election has not yet been decided. The numbers are in favor of Biden. No way. But Trump has filed legitimate legal challenges. Without knowing the result, therefore, I implore all Americans to accept our final choice with dignity and good grace. Again, I'm not worried about this. It sucks. You're going to hear a bunch of negative media. You're going to hear all these crazy stories. Trump's going to lose, all that stuff. You're going to be in fear for a bit. I'm not worried about this. When it all comes out, just like people were worried Trump got impeached, just like people were worried maybe Russia hacked our elections, nothing happened, right? It's the same type of things. It's just on a bigger scale because it's an election right now. Hodgson says, if you think Joe Biden this is important, guys. If you think Joe Biden in 2020 got more votes than Obama in 2008, you are bat crazy. You guys understand right now if the polls were actually legit, if these are actually real numbers, that Biden amassed the most voters like in the history, like Biden amassed more voters than Barack Obama in 2008. Is there a single person in your life that you know is pro-Biden? Like they're actually pro-Biden and they can tell you why they like Biden. Is there a single person in your life that is? Or are they all anti-Trump if they're a Biden supporter? Like there's not a single one that can tell you. See, I can understand in 2008 why Obama had such a lure. A completely new thing. You're going to have the first black president. You're going to have change. You're going to, change the system, all that stuff, right? I understand. That makes sense. Joe Biden having more votes than Obama did in 2008, that doesn't make sense if you follow Joe Biden at all, right? Nobody is a raging fan of Joe Biden. Nobody is. Not a single person. So you'd have to believe that many anti-Trump voters came out. Now, I know a lot of people that voted against Trump before and now they're voting for Trump. I don't know any voters that voted for Trump and now they're not voting. There definitely could be some, but you got to understand, right? The majority, there's a lot of voters that didn't vote at all, or they voted for Hillary or someone else. They voted Trump this year. How many do you know that voted Trump in 2016 and they're not voting, they didn't vote for him this year? Not many. So a lot of these things are not going to add up, and Joe Biden is not like the candidate that you can't miss. The fact that he got the most, like, that's shaky at best. So here's Tim Pool predict this. This is something I talked about last week. Tim Pool says, my current thoughts, media calls it for Biden. Trump files lawsuits and wins. Next 4 years, Trump stole the election. You think about that. They can already set up that plan. Again, I 115% believe that Trump will be our president. Whether they actually go as far as calling it Biden and then they have to go into lawsuits and all and recounts and all that stuff, I don't know how far it will go. But there's no way in a fair election that Trump does not win this by a landslide. I mean, if you think logically about all this stuff, think about all the things. The fact that he won in 2016 is much more, like, wow, that's crazy that he won in 2016. In 2020, anyone that's followed Trump, right, they are not getting off of the Trump train. It doesn't make sense that there's even a shot he loses. This should have been an absolute landslide. So let's talk about, okay, anomaly here. So he says, they hate you. They hate you just as much as they hate the president. They treated you worse than crap the past 4 years. Never accepted the results of 2016, shut down society this year like a hospital prison, and now want you to pretend like they want unity if they steal this. BS. Truth. Absolutely. Truth. If you've been a Trump supporter since 2016, this is nothing new to you. This election interference is like, okay, yeah, we knew they'd give it a shot. Let's see what happens here. It's nothing new to you. It's shocking how many people, though. That is actually, honestly, the saddest part I have. I'm an optimist. You guys know that. I'm an optimist. The world will be great. Things will get better. The saddest thing I have is realizing, like, my misplaced optimism in a lot of humanity. I can't believe people are actually emotionally involved with their Biden vote right now. But again, all it is because they hate Trump so much. They're not informed. They hate Trump so much that they want Biden. They don't love Biden. Nobody loves Biden. I'm just so shocked that there are still people after 4 years, after all the ways you could wake up with Biden. I know it all gets censored. That is honestly a little bit of a shot to my heart with humanity. I thought we were better than this. I thought people would wake up way sooner than this. It's unbelievable how long it's taken, and it's still taking. It's unbelievable. After 4 years, how unbelievable. It's just shocking. It's absolutely just crazy shocking. All right, so here's Aubrey Huff here. Aubrey Huff says, is a ex-professional baseball player, Aubrey Huff, Joe Biden got more votes than Obama. Biden had 9 people at his rallies consistently. Guys, that's not really a joke. It's like an exaggeration, sort of, but not really. He had like less than 100 people at all his rallies. If you think for 1 second this election wasn't rigged, you're a moron. I would have to agree. There's no way it would have been. It would honestly. I honestly believe if this was a truly fair election, I honestly believe it would have been over so quickly. Within the first couple hours, like they would have just seen like this is such a landslide. So again, I'm not worried, guys. I understand why people are worried. I still see the mainstream media like you do. I understand this is a big deal. It's an election. I'm not worried. Even if Biden somehow comes out a win, there's no way we've been prepared for this just to have Trump go down with no fight if there's a bunch of election interference. There's just no way. So here's where I'm going to end it with two things. I'm going to end it with this thing, and then I'm going to read to you. And actually, you know what? I'm going to upload right now. See if I can upload it to. I'll end with that. Again, this last one definitely might give me this video taken down, but that's fine. As long as you heard the message today. Get rid of those 5 dislikes, you douchebags. Come on. Yikes. All right, let's see here. Let me put it on. Okay, I'm sending this one thing to my computer right now. We'll end with that thing. Striped. Hey, dude, I'm into that. I'm into that, man. I'm into that. I don't know how else to say it too. And anyone that is in the same spot that I was maybe a few years ago, if I used to hear about people praying and all that stuff, and you're not bought in, you're not a believer, it's fine. It's okay. Totally fine. But then think from a different, higher consciousness place. Praying, sending vibrations, sending things you want into the universe. I know how silly, type of thing, that type of, sounds. But if you've looked into it at all and you know about thoughts, vibrations, all that stuff, even if you don't believe in praying, if you don't believe anyone to pray to, understand how powerful your thoughts and vibrations are in putting out stuff into the universe that you want versus what you don't want. Okay, let's see here. What do I got? Pimpin' in the Rain says, Biden is still in the race because Despacito. See, that's the type of stuff you guys have seen on my streams, right? You guys have seen the craziness. It's not even a competition. It shouldn't be a competition. There's no way he wasn't helped by the media. You can't honestly believe that this has been fair. Like these numbers are legit. There's no way. There's just no way. Absolutely no way. So here's the last one before the one I was going to show you, which I hope uploaded. Anyway, here's where I go back to what Trump said here. Let me see. Okay. Rigged 2020 election, millions of mail-in ballots will be printed by foreign countries and others. It will be the scandal of our time. Now, for anyone that's been following 17 and on, you've heard this many times. Watch the water. What does that mean? Watch the water. We don't know. What does it mean? Watch the water over and over and over again. This is only a theory, but it makes sense. Again, I don't know. There's a lot of these things that I'm still sitting on the edge of my seat, but I know the final outcome. I just don't know how it's going to be presented to us yet. The final outcome, guys, Trump is going to win this. Don't worry. The final outcome. Even if they say, I'm telling you, even if they say Biden, they'll look at this legally. I'm trying, just don't worry. If you're a Trump fan, don't worry. Don't sit here and say Kamala is going to be our president. No, yes, if Biden was actually elected, Kamala would end up being the president. No doubt about that. But Trump's not losing. Don't worry. And if somehow I'm wrong about this, guys, I can eat this. You guys make fun of me for the next 4 years if you want, however long. I just don't see any way that happens. All right, now, so this right here, Doc Holiday says, did the real ballots have watermarks on them? Will there be a recount to ensure all the votes were made using the watermarked ballots? All sorts of chatter. Again, this is just like a theory to go on Watch the Water. Now, think about this. If there were watermarked actual... Because you got to understand, Trump's been a few steps ahead about everything for the last 4 years. And depending on how long you've been following along, you know that that's true or not. So just to think that like he was blindsided by this election fraud, like there's no way. He knows. They know what's going on. So what could be happening here? Will there be a recount? Will they find out that all of the legit ballots had some type of watermark on it that could not be faked the other way, and then they're going to be able to expose fraud that way? I don't know. That could be potentially an area or one way they do this. There could be a lot of avenues of how they end up doing this, but again, there was interference. there's pretty much there is no doubt in my mind that has happened. And now it's just, unfortunately, playing the freaking waiting game of watching how this plays out. So let me finish with this about the prediction. This is, again, what I'm telling you guys, this is just a prediction from somebody. I'm not saying this is true, but this is, where did I put it, though? It's right here. Oh, that's going to be hard to read. Dang it. Okay. Let's hope. I'll read it from my phone if I have to. Okay. So this was posted on the boards just recently before I started this live stream. Okay. So this person says, I work for Cloudflare. Now, I have, with my actual Texting Prince website, I have it set up through Cloudflare as well. So that's just a little back-end type of thing about whatever. Doesn't matter. Side note. Anyway, tomorrow, this was posted again. Wait a second. Wait a second. Was this posted? Maybe not. Maybe this. Oh, wait. If this was posted 11/2, then that's not. Maybe this isn't legit. Let's just hear what her thoughts are on this, or his, or whoever. Okay, so it says, tomorrow social media companies, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, are going to go dark on any information pertaining to the election of Donald J. Trump, whether he wins or loses. There will be no ability to discuss or try to share facts that might lean in Trump's favor. The media is about to do one of the biggest coordinated campaigns to ignore reality and gaslight the American people in the history of television. Social media will be right there by their side, giving them cover. The story they intend to plant into the social consciousness is this. Regardless of who is winning or losing, it will be too close to call for Trump, and any attempt for Trump to announce he has won will be blackholed and delegitimized under the guise that more votes need to be counted before we can really know. Time out, guys. Remember when I've been talking about this the last few weeks, is that for the election, the media will probably do something where, because of the mail-in votes and all that stuff, they're going to have all this confusion. The votes can't be counted, and they're going to postpone and delay it, and then we're going to have to, rely on the media for the news, and they're the gatekeepers. They hold all this stuff. All right, time back in. We're back. Eventually, Biden may or may not make a play, but the media will not hold Biden's play to any scrutiny at all. Riots will ensue. If you support Trump, you will find yourself completely alone between televised media and social media. Your curiosity will be rewarded with gaslighting and skewed stats, spun facts. Nobody will be able to connect and publicly discuss what is an obvious ploy to delegitimize a presidency. Even if the media eventually acquiesces, a win by Trump will be forever shrouded in scandal and doubt, and the media will fan the flames. And this will be the last time we can openly discuss the facts of the night. Pay close attention to exactly the order of operations tomorrow. Its happenings, announcement, polls, and counts will change at will, and Google will suddenly become very bad at finding specific results that you think you saw just hours before. Save anything and everything as you see it. So just a little kind of warning about what might be going on with all this stuff. All right, so is a recap to all this stuff, guys. I'm not worried. Talk to me if Biden gets elected president and they don't take it to court and dig this out and Trump just gives up, then talk to me and I'll be worried. Until that happens, I'm not worried. It's crazy, but as crazy as I've been saying it is that so many people are still asleep and not awake to this, as crazy as that is, right? That shows us that more people need to wake up to this. Everybody is paying attention right now, especially the brainwashed, normies going, I hope Trump's out. I hope Trump's out. They're paying attention to every little stat that the mainstream media gives them, which means they're hanging on to the edge of their seat, which means what can wake them up? Because these are the people that still need to be woken up. Could a gigantic election fraud be the source that wakes these people up finally? And then they finally go, oh, everything Trump has been saying for the last 4 years about he was spied on, this illegal coup, this Russia gate, this Ukraine gate, this projection, they're all criminals. maybe finally they'll go, wait a second. Was I wrong completely about Trump? But you got to think about it, right? There's still so many people that need to be woken up. I don't know, man. I'm not worried. I know who's in control. And it doesn't logically make any sense at all that somehow Biden... Oh, actually, this is what I was going to end with. This is actually what I was going to end with. A quick little video that goes along with this. Was it this one? Yeah. No, we'll do this one. Aubrey Huff. Okay, so Biden got more votes than Obama. Biden had 9 people at his rallies consistently. If you think for 1 second this election wasn't rigged, you're a moron. Okay, here's what we're going to end with. I have to take off the volume completely because it's just a song and it'll be flagged right away. But it's... Okay. The top, and I could show you guys, Google if you need to, the last Pennsylvania state we're still talking about, Pennsylvania rally, Trump had, I think, 58,000 people at his rally. Now, this is just an example showing you the top is a Trump rally, the bottom is a Biden rally. Biden was doing these tiny little rallies, calling lids all the time. To really sit there and logically think that Biden had the most voter turnout more than Barack Obama in 2008, you're absolutely insane. Okay? Biden walking down the stairs. This is exactly what his rallies have been like for the last 4 months. They have circles on the ground and little chairs. Look how many people are at his rallies here. Or they park in cars and they honk. Some of you guys might have saw the weird video where it was all brand new Jeep, like 2020 Jeeps that were in the parking lot honking for Biden at one of his last staged talking points. But just think about the difference there the top one isn't even showing you the big view of like a lot of the rallies, how there actually are. That gives you a sample size. Even when Barack Obama was coming out talking on behalf of Joe Biden recently, he had nobody showing up. Obama, nobody. Everyone knows it's over. That's fake news. So the fact that people actually believe that this race is this close is a little frightening. There's no way. It's absolutely something's going on behind the scenes. Now it's just a matter of time before it comes out, and then, we see what the next part comes. But anyway, guys, that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. And let's just see what happens. And don't worry, guys. Don't worry. And then, like I said, if anything happens, if Biden's announced president and there's no fight, and you're like, well, dang it, Adam, I can't believe Adam told me not to worry. Well, then mark it on your calendar to come in, dislike my next live stream, leave some comments about how big of an idiot I am. I totally welcome that. I just don't see how this is possible. So hopefully that actually makes you sit a little bit better, sleep a little bit better at night. We're in good hands, even though it looks crazy, but this was expected. And hopefully this video stays up throughout the night. All right. Take care, guys. I will see you all next week for the social gap between men and women. And let's figure out what's going on with this whole election thing. Yes, I see what you guys are saying. Good stuff. I was born for these times. Absolutely, man. I was born for these times as well. I totally agree with that. I've told you guys this many times before, when the election wasn't sitting here in front of us to look at, where it looks like Biden's about to win. Many times, the Great Awakening is happening, guys, right now. This is all part of it. All part of the show, guys. Enjoy it. We will get through this, no problem. All right, take care, guys. See you later. I got to finish this beer. Bye.